really wish that you could play music on YouTube because I so badly want to like have my Christmas vibe like in the background that I usually do all day. Like I feel like that would just eat because it's December 1st. But anyways, hi guys, my name is Diana. Welcome to my core. Today I'm going to be doing my monthly wrap up. Wrap ups are my favorite thing to do because I'm a Virgo, so I like to keep all of my statistics of like what I've read. I mean, even though I don't do statistics that often, I still like to keep like what I read during what month, because I actually do go back to my videos to like see what I read during that month, or like because I'm always in like a different era or a different vibe or something. So I think that's so fun and so interesting. Like I feel like because I'm such a critical reader, I come off as if I hate everything, so that way if I do wrap ups, like you can see that there are books that I actually really enjoyed. But yeah, so this month I read 17 books. One of them I won't speak about because they are by a problematic author that I don't really want to platform. Let's just get started. Let's just get into the book. So the first book that I want to talk about is The Lost Story. This was actually really fun. I got it from the library, but I had to return it. But The Lost Story is about these two guys who went missing when they were in high school. And so this follows a few years later, like I think like 10, 15, like when they're adults basically. And they don't remember what happened. One of them remembers what happened, one of them doesn't. But they went missing, and then one day this random couple like found them in the woods. So then fast forward a few years later, this girl's sister has went missing, and so she seeks the help of one of the guys, because one of the guys, he helps lost people be found and he always finds them. So she's like, oh my gosh, I need this guy's help. So he gets their help, and it goes on from there. I feel like you can probably assume what happens, but if you like The Magicians, I feel like this would be for you. I thought it was really good, really fun. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, and this was such a unique story idea, and I feel like a lot of times when I read unique story ideas, they don't end up going very well. Like it ends up being like very bland and very meh. But this is one of the stories that I talk with my hands so much, but this is one of the first stories that I've read where I feel like the uniqueness matched up with the plot and the characters and how fun it was, and it all made sense and it wasn't boring, and it just was well. I haven't read a story like that in a while where like this story was unique and it actually gave. Then I read Blood Over Brighthaven, and this was a buddy read with my friend Trey. We were supposed to finish this in October, but I just been in such a reading slump this year. Like I've been consistently reading 10 books a month, and this month was the first month that I've read more than 10, so I'm really proud of myself. And it's just so weird because I'm so used to reading like 30 books, but it's just like I don't even know what to call it. Like I don't even know if it's a reading slump or like maybe my reading habits this year have changed, but I just not been able to read as much as I usually do. I'm still reading a lot. I'm still reading more than the average person, so I'm definitely not complaining. It's just like, it's just so weird. I don't do good with change, okay? But it's just so weird. Yeah, so we were supposed to buddy read it. We were supposed to finish it in October. We never did. So I ended up finishing it this month. I've now read both of her books, and I'm so proud of myself. This book is like an alchemy book. It's about this girl who wants to be in this school, and I ended up giving 3 out of 5 stars. I read it a minute ago, so I have to read my review because I really don't remember. But basically, it's about this girl who wants to go to this magic. It's about this girl who wants to go to this magic school. So the first half of the book is her like wanting to be in it and like testing to be in it and stuff. And this magic school doesn't really allow women, so she really has to like make her mark. And it also has alchemy, which I love. I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars because the first 3 chapters were really good, but then I took a break because I got into a reading slump. And then I came back, and it just felt like really hard to get into, like really hard for me to focus on, and really hard for me to just really get lost in the story. And I feel like everything was kind of over explained, which at first did me justice, but once I got really into the story, I'm like, okay, like I get it, girl. And I think it was because I was struggling with the reading slump. That's why I felt like that. Like I don't really know, but yeah, it was really hard for me to want to sit down and read it, and I also feel like that is why it took me so long to read it. And I don't feel like any of that is the book's fault. Like it's definitely my fault, but I just ended up giving the book 3 stars because it just didn't give like what I thought it was gonna give. And then I read Swept Away by Beth O'Leary, and this is an arc. I really enjoyed the book that she released last year. I forgot what it was. It was a blue cover, and it was about these people who work in a hotel, and a lot of her fans did not fuck with that book for real. Like I was like, oh, I really loved it. It kind of gave Gilmore Girls, and I was watching Gilmore Girls at the time. It definitely gave Gilmore Girls to me. Like I really liked it, but I know a lot of people who read her for real didn't. I haven't. So this is my second Beth O'Leary book. I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars. Oh, I'm shocked by my own rating. I like clicked on Goodreads and I'm like, oh, I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. My bad. The book is about these two people who wake up on a boat. Basically, they wake up on a boat and they're really confused, and it turns out that they both, so it was his boat that he sold to her friend, and so she was gonna sell the boat back to him, I think. And then they end up waking up on this boat after like having some drinks or whatever, and they're like talking about it, and they're both really confused on what to do with this fucking boat. Like something happened with her friend, so it was like she was like, I would never let this sail, and then he's like, bitch, this was my boat, like I want it back, like it was mine. And she's like, well, finders keepers, bitch. And he's like, girl. And then they end up realizing they're in the middle of nowhere. So I found this book fine. I found the main character really fucking annoying. Like, she got on my nerves. It's me though. It wasn't like I don't think she was like, I don't think other people would find her annoying. I know I found her annoying though. She just really frustrated me in the beginning. I feel like she was being really complex for no reason, and just really being like standoffish, and I won't say she was being rude to him, but like she was being, it was just annoying to me. So then I read JSA, which is, girl, I forgot what this stood for. Justice League of Justice Society. What the fuck does this stand for? Oh my gosh. Justice Society of America. Okay, I was close. And this is like DC. I was in my DC era because I started watching the Batman movie, and then I also watched the Penguin, and I was like obsessed with the movie. And I was in my DC era because I'm always in my DC era. Like, if you watch my videos, it happens every year. I'm actually surprised I didn't have a Marvel's era, because what I'll do is I'll obsess over DC and then Marvel, because like superheroes as a whole, or obsess over Marvel and then DC. But this year it was just DC, and like usually it'll be like Batman, then DC, blah blah blah. But this year it wasn't. This year was just DC. It was very short-lived. I think it's because I ended up in my Wicked era, and that just took over my life. So I've seen Wicked 3 times, and it's only been out for a week now. I've seen it 3 times already within the last week. Like, I have not been in the movies that much since Black Panther came out, the first one, and that was like 2019, y'all. Like, crazy. Anyway, so JSA, this is like if anybody remember the movie Black Adam, the characters that were fighting Black Adam were the JSA, and I was really intrigued by them. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, I really hope that they pull from Black Adam, because everything outside of Black Adam, like the character, was really good. The story itself, the fighting, all that, I just feel like The Rock just has too much like ego to take himself out of it and just let him be a character. Like, I feel like he had too much hand in like what was going on, and it took away from the story. So I decided, when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna read it. It was okay. I gave it 2 stars. It wasn't. And then I read 11/22/63 by Stephen King, which I gave 4 stars. So this is, finally I've read it, y'all. Like, I'm on my way to reading The Stand by Stephen King. I read some big books this month. I think that's also why I only read 16. When you see the other big book that I read, you're gonna be like, girl, you did fine. I didn't really think about the big books that I read when I was talking about the books I read this month. So actually I did really good. So yeah, I read 11/22/63, which is 900 pages, and this is about this guy who ends up being able to time travel back in time, and he decides that he wants to stop the JFK assassination. And I also read this literally during election week, which was a very interesting time. I wasn't planned. I didn't really think about it. It is 4 stars. I thought it was really fun. I really liked the time traveling aspect. I feel like this was very interesting because I wasn't going into it expecting what happened in this book. Like, this book is very much like his day-to-day life when he time traveled, which was fun. I am not someone who likes a lot of light time travel, because I don't think you should be playing around with time. And one thing I hate about time travel is that people never consider that things that you change in the past will be affected in the future, and like the butterfly effect. So then I got into my romance era. Realized that a big reason why I suck at reading fantasy is because I'm not balancing it out with romance, because that's something I've been doing for a very long time, is reading romance and fantasy. And so, and then also I was reading this really big fantasy book, and so I picked up a romance series. I finished the fantasy book so fast. Like, I was like, wow, okay, so what I need to get back into my fantasy era is to also be in my romance era, which sucks because I feel like no romances out here are really that good. But these romance books that I read were pretty fun. I read the 3 books in Kings of Sin by Anna Huang. So I read King of Wrath, King of Pride, and King of Greed. So start with King of Wrath. First book, I gave 4 stars. This follows like the whole like sin things, and they're all in a club called the Holly something. They're all in the boys club, like a little country club type of thing, right? And so the first King of Wrath follows this guy, and it's marriage and convenience, which is my favorite trope, and I feel like it's not written about a lot. I feel like it's really overshadowed by fake dating. So I really love that this one was marriage and convenience. So it's marriage and convenience, and it's about this girl who parents want her to get married, but she's kind of really doesn't really care about getting married, and so they end up marrying her. They end up setting her up. So it's arranged marriage and marriage and convenience, but they end up arranging her to be married to this really wealthy guy, and he's like the King of Wrath, so he's like always get angry, but he balances it out with like boxing or whatever. And so I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars because I really like the marriage and convenience. And then the next one was King of Pride, and I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars, and this one got boring very fast. So this one is about this guy. It's like forbidden romance. So she works at the club that they're at, so they're not supposed to date. And yeah, like I don't remember what he does something, but he's best friends with the main character. Well, he's friends with the main character from the first book, the main male love interest, and then she's best friends with the female character from the first book. And yeah, I gave it 5 stars. It just got boring really fast. King of Greed, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars because this one was second chance romance, but it's also marriage and trouble, and marriage and trouble is one of my favorite tropes. I just love it. Like I love like when a guy is like seeing that he's losing, like and I feel like this was written so well because I love when a guy is like, shit, I'm about to lose the love of my life if I don't get my shit together. And it's like she literally has to leave him in order for him to see that what he could be losing, and it just opens his eyes. And I love that, and I feel like this one was done so well. So I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. This one is about this couple. They've been married for a while. It's King of Greed, so he's really focused on getting his money, and he doesn't like mistreat her or anything. He just doesn't pay attention to her anymore. Like he's always at work. He picks work over her, and so her final straw was they were supposed to go on like a trip or something for their anniversary, and he stays at the office because he forgets, and then he comes home and all of her shit is packed and gone. And I love that. And she actually does file for divorce, which I also love because it showed that she was serious and that they had to like date and like fall in love again. And I just thought this was written so well, and this was like exactly what I want from like a marriage in trouble, to where it's like nothing problematic happened in the relationship, or like they don't really have to like go to therapy over it. Because in Before I Let Go, I feel like they should have went to therapy. Like it kind of just like they just ignored why they split up, and then they just like got back together, and it was just like, okay, we're fine. And it's like I still love that book, but I just feel like this book did what I wanted in a good way, because the reason why they broke up was just like he wasn't paying attention to her, so it's something that he has to actually focus on and improve himself for. And I just really liked it. I thought it was good. Then I started reading my Christmas book, so I read The Perfect Gift by Cleo Evans, and I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. This is a very short romance story about this couple who is stuck. They're snowed in their cabin, and the husband promised the wife they were having like a weekend of freakiness. Okay, they were just gonna have a freaky ass weekend, and he did not deliver. Like he was ignoring her, he was focusing on her work. And then they end up seeing these 2 men outside, and they end up like letting them in, and then she ends up like getting freaky with the 2 men, and then they all end up getting freaky. And the book just didn't work out for me per se, because I couldn't get over the fact that you let some random man in that was tracked outside in the snow. This could have turned into a horror movie. Like if this was a horror book, I would have been like, okay, that makes sense. Why would you let some random people in the snow into your house, your cabin? It just didn't make any sense to me. It just didn't add up to me. Like I didn't like it, and I hated that. And I just couldn't get over it. I could not suspend my disbelief. Like I'm not that kind of person. Like I am sorry. It just kept pissing me off because you don't know these men from a can of paint, and they were just getting freaky. Like yeah. So I gave it 2 stars. And then I finished Words of Radiance. I was gonna read Words of Radiance and Oathbringer, but I felt burnt out after reading this book. And then I tried to read the other book, and I was like, no, that one was the main character was getting on my nerves. I couldn't do it. My camera overheated as always. I forgot what I was talking about, but I do know I was talking about Words of Radiance, and the fact that I was reading romance along with this, and this really helped me read my fantasy book. But yeah, I was supposed to read 2 books in 1 month. I was supposed to read this book within the first 2 weeks, and then Oathbringer in the last 2 weeks. But this one, I just feel like it was really good. I gave it 5 stars. Like I had a lot of fun. I really loved the characters. I really loved this world and the storytelling. But damn, is it so long. Like, oh my god, this book was so long. I felt like I was in a never-ending maze. Like I felt like I was stuck in here. Like I felt like I was never gonna be finished. And then when I did finish, I was like, oh praise god. Like I don't even know if I want to go through that 2 more times. Like, it's really good storytelling. Obviously, I gave it 5 stars. Like, I love these characters. But, oh my gosh. It's just so long. Like, I'm not a big book girly. I'm trying to be. Because, like, a lot of fantasies that I want to read are, like, I'm forced into being a tome girly. Like, I'm forced. Because I read fantasy. But, damn. This book was long. I will be reading Oathbringer. I mean, I think I'm gonna, because my plan was to read this one in Oathbringer in November, and then Rhythm of War, and then the new book in December. I think I'm just gonna get to them when I get to them. I think I might read Oathbringer this in December, and then the next, I don't know, I'm gonna get to them when I get to them instead of trying to rush and like hurry up and catch up. Because also the next book after that isn't gonna be out for another 2 years, so I have time. Like, I grow, like, it's okay, like, girl, you have time. So then after I read Words of Radiance, I read this arc called Ride With Me. I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars. So this one was a marriage of convenience. It's my favorite trope, if you couldn't tell. It's like F1 book, because I really just wanted to get like into the popular romance books. Like, I wanted to read a little bit of hockey, a little bit of cowboy, a little bit of F1. Like, I want to read a little bit of everything. And then I really want to read this one because this one had a black main character, and I just feel like this book was not good. It was really boring. I don't like the author's writing. I feel like I could have figured that out from the first book that I read, but I want to give her another try. Like, I at least try to give authors like 2 to 3 tries. But I think I'm just done with this author. Like, I didn't like the first book. Like, the beginning of this book was really fucking slow. Like, it moved really, really slow. It took forever to get to the point. And then I feel like, to me, the main characters didn't have any chemistry. It didn't need to be 444 pages. And then I read Pucked by Helena Hunting, and I've never read her, but I've seen her on here. Like, I've seen her talked about in the romance community a lot. So I gave this one 1 star. This one is about this main character who her stepbrother plays in the NHL, and he's like this playboy hockey star or whatever, and they end up like having a romance. Like, yeah, but I just didn't like this one because, like, this book was literally terrible. Like, despite the terrible fucking writing, the book itself was also really terrible. The main character was 22, but she talked like a millennial, and like, this book came out in 2015, so like, okay, maybe whatever. But like, she would say things like and it just felt so immature. Like, she referred to kissing as mouth fuck. Like, she was like making out with this guy, and she was like, nah, I'm just gonna I want to go back to mouth fucking this guy. And it's like, this is corny. And then also, she would describe this guy as fuck hot. She'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to mouth fucking this fuck hot guy. And it's like, and then she called her, and you should call her special area, because I don't want to say it on Twitter and it get demonetized, but she, you know, her special area, she called it a beaver. Out of all the animals, you pick a beaver. I don't like how she treated the stepbrother or hockey players in general. Like, she treated them as if they were dumb simply because they were jocks. Like, she took that whole dumb jock thing, like, to heart, I guess. Like, she was like making out with this guy who was on the hockey team. She's like, oh, I just thought he was gonna be dumb, like my stepbrother. And I'm just like, I don't know, like, the whole like stereotyping thing I just thought was lame. And like, she just kept calling him like dumb all the time. My dumb like, she just kept calling them dumb all the time. It was so weird. And then also, she would slut shame the girls, like the, what do they call it, puck bunnies. She would slut shame them as if the book didn't start off with her touching herself. So yeah, it was just the writing, and it was just shit. Like, it was just shit. Then I read Elevator Pitch, and I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. This is about this girl who lives in this apartment building, and she ends up meeting this guy in an elevator. She ends up going out on this bad date, and then but it's this app, and I forgot what it was called. It was like, I forget what the app is called. Whatever. He's a creator of this successful app that's basically Tinder, right? I forget what it's called, but she has a bad date on there, so she ends up running into him in the elevator, and he's like, I don't know, it was corny. I feel like my big issue, like, I can get past corny, like, that's fine. My biggest issue with this book was that it felt lazy, because the author would describe things instead of just saying it. Like, it would be like, they would be having a conversation, and then instead of just like you know, typing out the conversation, she would be like, and then we talked about the moon and the stars, and he told me this and he told me that. Like, it doesn't say, it doesn't continue on with the if that makes sense. It felt like very like fan fiction writing. Like, you can tell that this author writes fan fiction, because that's something that happens in fan fiction a lot. Like, in order to not like write out the, in order to like save you time or to not have to write out this conversation, or save writer's block, a lot of fan fiction authors would just write out, like in a paragraph, just say what happened instead of just writing it out and like showing us. But in published fiction, that comes off as lazy. That comes off as you not knowing what you're doing. Like, it doesn't hit the same as when you write fan fiction. I feel like the book was poorly written in general, and a lot of the writing choices had me like rolling my eyes. There was specifically this one scene where they're out to get lunch or whatever. They're like getting lunch together, and it's also this very insta lovey, but like they didn't get together for a while, and it was just like, I just don't see the point in insta love books. Like, why are you writing this? And then also, if you're gonna write an insta love book, make it 200 pages. This book was nearly 400 pages, or it was 400 pages. If you're gonna have them be insta lovey, get that shit over with quick. I'm not about to be sitting here for 400 fucking pages about characters who fell in love on page 1. There's no point for me being here. What the fuck? It's not fun. Why would I want to read that? I would just go and read fan fiction if I wanted that. Which, anyways, so yeah, there was this one scene where they're eating lunch together, and she is talking about like the dating app that he has, because she doesn't know that he owns, like, he's the creator of this dating app. And so she's talking about this failed date, and he's like, oh, so how do you feel about it? And she says this and this, and then he's like giving her tips, and then she gives him, like, she's like, yeah, and this is how I feel. And then he goes, okay, I'll keep that in mind. And she's like, what? And he's like, I guess I should tell you, but I'm the creator of this app. And I just felt like that was just so weirdly like written. Like, first of all, how do you accidentally tell someone, like what kind of conversation are you having where you accidentally say like, oh yeah, I'll keep that in mind? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just doesn't make any sense. I feel like it could have been written better. Like, I just feel like she just threw it in there. She's like, I don't know how to make her figure out that like he wrote this app, so I'm just gonna throw it in there. Like, it's whatever. I read a romance book called the Holly Hawk Hoax. I gave this 2 stars. This is a Waking Up in Vegas fake marriage story, which you know I love. I love a Waking Up in Vegas accidental marriage book, right? This was shit. Basically, she ends up going to Vegas because she found out that her boyfriend was like cheating on her and he was like a loser, so she ended up going to Vegas with her best friend. Her best friend has to leave early because her dad is sick, so she's there by herself. She wakes up the next morning, she's married to this guy. Her mom FaceTimes her, and she tells her mom that she got married, and they're like, okay, like, let's meet this guy. And so she doesn't know that they got married accidentally in Vegas. It's just like her mom just thought it was like a really quick relationship or whatever. And so the girl is like, okay, like, the guy is like, oh, well, let me come back with you, and like we can convince your family, whatever. I don't like that. First of all, you're letting this man that you don't know come to a state with you and meet your family where he could potentially, you don't know him. Even if y'all all waking up in Vegas married, you do not know him. I feel like Waking Up in Vegas trope really works when they live in Vegas, but why would that happen to somebody who lives in Vegas? They are best friends. They know of each other. Like, they know similar people that know each other. Like, somehow they know each other. Like, it's not, and they're from the same state. Like, it's not just oh, I woke up married to this random person. No, that's weird. That's dumb. That's stupid. Okay, so the next book I read was Mistletoe Motive. And this is actually a Kobo original, which is so funny because I've owned this book for a year and I did not know that. It says it literally right here, and I was on my Kobo and I was like, I believe I own this book. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. This one is about this girl who works at a bookstore, and she's really insecure because there's a guy that was hired in the bookstore, and she feels like he was hired because she like wasn't good enough, and she feels like there can only be one of them because they're co-managers, and she feels like there can only be one of them because it's a really small bookstore and like a bigger bookstore opened up near them, and so that one's driving more business and theirs is getting less and less business, and so she just doesn't really like him, and it's supposed to be enemies to lovers, but this book feels like he obviously liked her from the beginning. Like, there's a scene where like she was like dating this guy who worked at the other bookstore or whatever, and he was like clearly using her, but she didn't think that, and she's like, and he brought her some type of hot chocolate or something like that. He bought her something that she liked, and the guy was like, oh, you don't, no, it was like perfume or something. He was like, oh, you don't like that kind of stuff, it's too strong. And she's like, how did you know that? And he was like, 12 months. And she's like, what? And he's like 12 months, 5 something weeks, something something something, like he's like counting it down. And she's like, why do you even know that? And I'm like, girl, it's so obvious he knows that because he's in love with you. Yeah, it just felt like this is promoted as an enemies to lovers, but it's not enemies to lovers if the guy likes you from the beginning. Okay, it's just you think he's your enemy but he's not. But like I just don't know why authors keep trying to do that. Why are authors so scared? Like they keep trying to do that. Oh, he's secretly in love with you but you guys are enemies to lovers. Why are they so scared to just do enemies to lovers? Like why does the guy have to be secretly in love with her the whole time? Why can't they both fall in love at the same time? Or you can still do boy falls first and harder. He just doesn't need to be in love with her the whole time. Like, I don't understand why romance authors are so scared to write that when it comes to enemies to lovers. And don't even get me started on the fact that this isn't enemies to lovers because it's not a fantasy book. This is hate to love. Let's be real. But anyways, and so yeah, I thought this book was fine. I thought like there were some really cute romance moments, but this book was so predictable to the point where I was starting to assume that the main character was stupid. Like, I can do predictable, that's fine, but so predictable to the point where I was like, girl, you have to be fucking dumb. Like, there was a point in the book where there's this guy that she's talking on Reddit with, and his name is Mr. Reddit, and it's so obvious from just when he's introduced that he's gonna be the love interest, but whatever. So you know, why would she assume that? I can get that. So they're talking, whatever. She recommends her coworker read this book. She recommends him to read this book. She goes into work, she sees her coworkers reading it. She's like, oh my gosh, that's weird, why are you reading this book? And he's like, and then I'm like, okay, coincidence, whatever. Personally, I don't believe in coincidences, but that's just me. So she could just be like, coincidence, okay, I get that. Then the thing that really pissed me off, that I was like, okay, this bitch is dumb, is they were talking and she's supposed to be meeting up with the Reddit guy, and he's like, oh, I hope you have fun with Mr. Reddit. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you, blah blah blah. She, you know, she goes on about her day. She's like, wait a minute, I never told him his name was Mr. Reddit. And then a few pages after that, she goes, the main love interest is Jonathan. She goes, Jonathan is Mr. Reddit? Why did it take you so long to figure that out? Like, from when he said have fun with Mr. Reddit and you realize that you never said his name to now, why did that take you so long? You're stupid. Like, last book that I read in November was another Christmas book, and it was My December Darling by Lauren Asher. I don't like this author. I don't know why I read this. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. This was literally shit. This is about this girl who her sister is marrying her ex-boyfriend, and so the best man, she ends up falling in love with the best man, which I've already read a book exactly like this at the beginning of the year, but it was by a black author, and honestly it was done a lot better, because at least in that book, I mean this book as well, like she didn't give a fuck about her ex, but I just feel like that one was just done better. And this one was just like really lazy. Like, she's like a traveling nurse, so she's able to like work wherever, so, and he's also a doctor, so they have like, you know, time in their hospital, whatever. But like, this is supposed to be enemies to lovers, or I don't want to call it enemies to lovers, because it wasn't. Like, she kind of just didn't really fuck with him for real. Like, she didn't like him, and she didn't have a good reason to not like him. Well, I mean, I guess she did, because she was like, oh, he just reminds me of the kind of guys that I date. But you're not trying to date him, so why does it matter that he reminds you of the kind of guys that, like, at that point in the book you weren't trying to date him, so why does it matter that he reminds you of the guys that you used to date? Like, this is just a regular guy to you, like, whatever. And it's not even like she dates assholes or anything. She just dates like a particular type of man, and he's just like that. And I just didn't understand why she was so weird to him because of that. And at that point she wasn't trying to date him, and it doesn't matter anyways, because it ends up being insta love. And it was supposed to be like a small town. This does not feel like a Christmas book. It did not. I did not feel the Christmas cheer at all. It just felt like a workplace romance like type of thing. So yeah, I am going to continue reading my Christmas romance books because I think they're fun. But yeah, that's what I read in November. And I did have fun. Hopefully in December I read a lot more. My reading goal is at 248. Mentally I want to read 300 books, but I already read 300 books last year, so it doesn't matter. Like, I don't need to read it this year. So I probably won't get to 300. I'll probably get to like 260 at most, because I'm at 248 right now. So I'll need to read 2 more books, and then I'll probably be at like 250, 260, around that mark. And then I'm really excited for the end of the year, because I love the end of the year videos. You know damn well y'all are not seeing my best and worst videos until January. So, and I'm thinking of doing one of those Goodreads vlogs, but y'all know me, I don't know. I gotta really be in the mood. I got some books that I really need to read before the end of the year. So maybe I'll do one of those videos. I don't know. I am gonna be doing more. Of course, as always, I'm gonna be doing my I am gonna be still doing my video essays and stuff like that. But and I have a few planned, and I really like what I have planned. But yeah, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.